tuning up a Twinzilla, which is a HPI twin engine. If you're actually going to tune up a single engine car, this video here is the best one I've found on the web for tuning up. It's actually a HPI video. It's probably a rip from a CD that came with the actual HPI cars, but it's very good for it. What I'm going to do is run through tuning one engine at a time. I used to try and tune them together. It doesn't really work. So one engine at a time, then fire them up together, and then rip off back wheel. So okay, because this is hard to see inside the car, I've got an engine that's actually been pulled out from earlier. This is identical to the engines that are already in there. You'll see that the slide can go in and out, and there is a gap here. That gap needs to be 0.04 of 1 mil. So that's 40% of 1 millimeter. It's actually quite a small gap. When we're adjusting the pair of engines, we want that gap to be exactly the same, and we're also going to have to adjust all the struts so that they actually push in and out at the same rate. And that's important, otherwise we're not going to get the same acceleration on the last idle stop. The screw that adjusts that is here. And the next one that we've got is the high-speed needle. Some of these have got a groove here that actually shows you where to pull them in and out of, or where to stop. This one doesn't. And so you can close that into 2.5 turns and then back it out if you haven't got a factory setting on it. If you have got a factory setting on it and it runs already, it's probably more advisable just to adjust that as it goes. This is what I'm going to be doing. I'll back that off at 1/8 of a turn after each run. There, as I said, is a much better video on how to do this, but I'm just kind of showing you this off the top. The last screw, and that's the one that we adjust absolutely last, is the low speed needle. And once again, that's normally set fairly well to factory, and it should sit flush. If it's adjusted properly, it should sit flush with the outside edge here. So that's probably your starting point. If your settings are completely toast, sit it flush and then adjust it in or out from there depending on how it's running. As I say, this is not as detailed as the HPI video, and I highly recommend that you go and have a look at that. So now that we're outside, we can actually use this area to tune the car up. Each time the car comes back from a run and it's still smoking and it isn't running short of fuel, and you'll hear that in the engine by it sort of stuttering, it comes back another 1/8 of a turn. This is a very long process. This thing took about 20 minutes to tune on both engines. But it's a matter of doing it a little bit at a time and getting it right. So each time it comes back, it's not quite right, 1/8 of a turn. Now that time there, the wheels came off the ground, so that engine's about right. Moving over to the right engine now, and repeating the same process, letting it go up and back, just giving it a chance to see how that particular adjustment went, and taking it as far as I can without actually taking it beyond leaning it out too much. It's a slow process, but this is the way to get it right. Finally we get to a point where both engines seem to be developing about the same amount of power. And you can tell at the end, the wheels come off the ground there. And now we're going to run both engines at the same time and see how they actually perform together. So that's now the thing you've got to remember here is this is quite a heavy truck. There's a lot of metal in this truck. It's not, I mean, that any Savage that you've got an X or an XL is going to pull the front wheels off the ground quite easily. But the thing you've got to remember here is this truck is probably going on for twice as heavy. And this is why there's the other thing about the speed, the top end speed of this thing as well. It develops a lot of low end power. And obviously you can change the gearing to change all that, but this is actually a very heavy truck. You'd notice when you pick this up, this is considerably heavier. There's a lot of metal in this as well compared to your normal standard plastic truck. But I think this is pretty much right now, and time to hit the dirt and have a bit of fun. thing just is effortless now in terms of actually spinning its wheels and getting in there. It's really performing well. And right up until that point there, where the back wheel spins off. Now that back wheel is Loctited on, and it's idling beautifully. So next time we're going to be tuning this, which is a Titan twin, and the idea there is that the video after next, I'm going to actually do a tractor pull and run the two of them together. Well, yes, together, against each other. There you go.